Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about The Fealty of Monsters by Ladz. The Fealty of Monsters is a new, dark fantasy in the tradition of Gormenghast and Castlevania. It is the story of a secondary world Russian Revolution, an empire that is clearly modeled on the late imperial, early 20th century Romanov dynasty, and made more magical and more vampiric and more monstrous in this sort of other empire, this other world. So we have this fun balance of something that's very recognizable without the overburdening effect that pure historical fantasy can be sort of troubled with. We can really indulge in sensation, and this is a novel that fully indulges in sensation, in the hunger for blood, for flesh, for connection. It is a book that is hungry, that wants, that tears with its teeth at every part of the body, and one that I had a great deal of fun with. You know, we love a Gormenghast rep here on Bar Cart Bookshelf, and having that sort of monstrous blend of very human monsters who don't consider the consequences of their actions, and then very bestial vampiric monsters that are amalgamations of different parts, and insectoid and bat-like, and just generally chimerical and monstrous. It's a really lovely balance of the sort of two polarities of monstrosity, and a book that sets things up for a really wild continuation of the story. We have here this sort of build-up to what in our world would be the Russian Revolution in 1917, and then that moment of change, that moment of transition, and then we see where we can go next with this desire to preserve the best parts of a culture and recognize the powerful need for reform. And at the same time, it's a story of a pretty tight cast of individuals. Sasa Charnalaski, the imperial magician, or imperial magician's son, then to become imperial magician. Svetlana, the crown princess of the dynasty, and then two of our soldiers who find themselves engaged in the military side of the empire. So lots of twists, lots of turns, lots of political intrigue and grand balls, and, you know, drinking the blood of people with terminal illness, and just a lot of giving over to the sensuality of monstrosity, of politics, of control. It really is the body politic. And so, of course, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the Odonic Empire, inspired by the Fealty of Monsters. Without any further ado, why don't we get started? We're going to start with 1.5 ounces of Slivovitz. This book has been described as sort of vodka punk, but for me, I really like the fruit-forward flavors of a Slivovitz. It is very, Eastern European influenced, and this unaged plum brandy is going to have that cleanness, that clarity of flavor, while having that fruitiness as well. And there's definitely our fair share of fruitiness in Fealty of Monsters. So we're going to start with 1.5 ounces of that Slivovitz, that unaged plum brandy. Next, as I mentioned, we're drinking the blood of people with terminal illnesses. This has this sort of bitter quality to it for the vampires. And what is more bitter and red than Campari? For our blood drinkers, we will get half an ounce of Campari down in there. The Odonic Empire has a very strong coffee culture, so we're going to get half an ounce of coffee liqueur. I'm using my homemade coffee liqueur, but if you have a bit of a sweeter tooth, then something like Kahlua is really going to work well in here. Half an ounce of that coffee liqueur. Again, bittersweet, that like dark bitterness of coffee, really going to bring some nice rich elements to our cocktail, and that good bit of darkness. It is a dark fantasy after all. For a bit of sweetness and still depth, half an ounce of honey syrup. That's going to help to temper some of our more alcohol-forward ingredients, and we'll just blend all of our bitterness and all of our sweetness together in a really nice way, bringing this sort of not quite medicinal edge, but it is that spoonful of honey that helps the medicine go down, is it not? And then finally, Saza has a great fondness for cigarettes. He can enjoy tobacco or blood tobacco much more easily than he can, the human pleasures of food and drink. And so we're going to get 3 ounces, or 3 droppers full, of that Pooter smoke and salt bitters from Crude Bitters that we like so well for that control of smokiness. If you don't have the smoke and salt bitters, you can try really peaty, smoky scotch, like the Ardbeg 5-year that we've used here before, like a bar spoon of that into your cocktail. But for that balance of like Lapsang, Souchong, really rich smokiness, the Pooter is hard to beat. So we've got all of our ingredients in our mixing glass. Lovely. We'll add our ice. Nice, chilled, frosty cocktail. Get our spoon in there and give it a stir. Really, you want to get the level of the liquid and the level of the ice roughly equilibrium. We've been doing a lot of stirred cocktails lately, so I know y'all know the drill. And as the weather warms up, we'll be getting back to some nice shaken drinks soon, I'm sure. But for the richness and the sort of supple texture that we want with Fealty of Monsters, that stirred cocktail really is the way that we want to go. And it takes place in the wintertime. It takes place at the winter solstice for our grand climax. So we need that nice, warming sort of cocktail there. Lovely. And that's looking very nice there. Take our julep strainer, put that in there, and strain. I can control my tongs. Strain into a stemmed cocktail glass. Perfect. Right up to the edge. And there you have it. This is the Odonic Empire, inspired by The Fealty of Monsters by Ladz. The book is available now. I've got a link to snag it in the description below. Try the drink. Let me know what you think. We've got links to various forms of social media, including Twitter, Instagram, and Bluesky in the description below. There's always a written version of today's recipe on those places. Hit that like button. It really does make me so very happy, and it helps us to find new audiences. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are going to have some really great cocktails and mocktails coming to you this spring. And so, until next time, cheers.